Hey Future Gators, my name is Kat Kushak and along with my colleague Clay Lahry, we are your instructional technology coaches at IMS. Today I'm going to cover some tech basics to help make your transition to the middle school as smooth as possible. We'll be going over the topics you see here. Feel free to pause or rewind this video as needed, and you can also turn on closed captions. Let's get started. We have an incredible tech team ready to support you. In addition to Clay and me, our technology specialists Mike Hogan and Chris O'Brien are here to help when something goes wrong with your tech. They're available to students at school in the Business Center or by email. Make sure to reach out whenever your iPad isn't working as expected, gets damaged, or as soon as you think it might be lost. All of these details, including our contact information, as well as a ton of other helpful tips and resources, can be found by accessing our IMS Technology homepage. Simply go to the IMS webpage, select the Students or Families tab, and choose Technology from the list of services. From here, you can navigate to any of our tech-specific pages. I'm now going to talk about the physical iPad your student will be getting. All students in grades 6 through 12 are issued an iPad to use for school. iPads are checked out early in the school year. You'll receive more information in the summer about the iPad checkout process as well as getting iPad insurance. Before that happens though, we do want to make sure that you're somewhat familiar with what your student will be able to do with their iPad. There are several restrictions placed on student iPads to make sure they're using them safely and responsibly. One of these restrictions is app availability. Students do not have free access to the App Store and instead will download apps from Self-Service. Self-Service is a catalog of apps that have already been screened and vetted for appropriateness and educational value. Students will usually be instructed by their teachers to download specific apps when they're needed for class, but students can also browse Self-Service on their own for apps that interest them. However, we do warn against downloading every available app since the iPads do have limited storage space. Another restriction placed on student iPads is the iBoss internet filter. This filters what websites and other internet content students can access both at school and at home. We use categorical blocks, so like gaming websites and social media platforms, as well as specific content blocks like explicit words and phrases. Ultimately, we like to remind students that their iPads are for school use and that these restrictions are for their safety and security. We also ask that students practice a few responsible iPad habits to help keep their iPad in working condition for their 3 years at IMS, and also to make sure that they're prepared each day for school. iPads should be covered at all times with a case that covers all 4 corners and sides. We do provide an approved case with all the iPads we check out to students, but students can also use their own case if they prefer. Students should also get in the habit of charging their iPad every night. iPads are used in just about every class, so students can expect to be using their iPads throughout the entire school day. So it's really important to have a fully charged device each morning. Finally, we ask students to be gentle with their device and to keep it in their backpack whenever they're on the move. We really appreciate your help in reinforcing these iPad habits for school, but we also know that managing iPads at home is just as important. When it comes to your student and their iPad, you're the boss. Just like any school material, we invite you to regularly engage with the work your student is doing on their device. As 6th graders get used to having so many different classes, it can be really helpful to go over how they're organizing and keeping track of all their digital work. Checking in early and often is our suggestion. We also recommend that if your student is using a passcode to protect their iPad, that they share that with you. It's just another reminder that the iPad is not a personal device. It can also open the door to have important conversations about digital citizenship and being safe and responsible online. Check out our website for resources to help support these important topics. In addition to digital citizenship, you'll also find support on managing screen time. We know it's important that students don't spend all day staring at a screen. Teachers are careful about balancing classwork between the iPad and offline activities. At home, it's just as important that students find balance. Some families set up expectations of where in the home the iPad can and cannot be used. We also think setting up a reasonable bedtime for the device can be helpful to make sure students are getting enough sleep. And when expectations aren't enough, there are more restrictive options you may choose to look into. Again, on our website, you'll find links and instructional videos on several screen time management options. For example, there are parental time settings you can enable on your student's actual iPad, or even Wi-Fi restrictions you can put in place with your internet provider. If you're interested in learning more about any of these tools, check out our tutorials or reach out to us for help. Okay, so moving on from the physical iPad, we're going to cover our two most important online learning and management systems. These are also apps that students will regularly access from their iPads. First up is Schoology. This is our digital schoolhouse and your students' jumping off point for most of what they'll be using their iPads for. They'll be using Schoology from now until they finish high school. Schoology is a learning management system, and it provides us a space for online learning, including communication and collaboration, and increased student access to their class curriculum and any supplemental content. There are Schoology courses for each of your students' classes and even Schoology groups for extracurriculars and other school-related clubs. Using Schoology also helps students learn how to safely and professionally navigate an online learning environment. In this way, our hope is that they get to leave a positive digital footprint and feel a little more prepared to interact in our digital world. Finally, Schoology is private and cannot be accessed by the public. For this reason, we also offer parent Schoology accounts so you can check out what your students are learning and the work they're doing. You will receive an email in September with more information on accessing your parent account. But with this account, you'll be able to view your students' course materials, including assignments for any of their classes. You can also view the contributions they make, so assignment submissions, course comments, discussion posts. But keep in mind that comments and posts made by other students are kept anonymous. However, as a parent, you do have a few limitations. You can't submit assignments for your child or post to discussions or updates. You're also unable to send messages from Schoology. Think of your access as view only and restricted to just your students' work. As stated earlier, you'll get an email in September with more information for getting started, but once you get set up, this is your Schoology landing page. It's the first page you'll see. We recommend spending some time navigating around the site to get a little more comfortable using it. We also have several video tutorials on our website for using Schoology and specifically as a parent. Additionally, if you have other children in the district, you can link all your students' accounts together to easily switch between them from your parent account. All right, and next up, and last but not least, is Skyward. Skyward is our student information system and your place to access your child's grades, attendance, lists of any missing work, and to update your most current contact information for teachers. Like Schoology, you may want to spend some time navigating around the site to become familiar, and once again, be sure to check out some of our Skyward tutorials located on our website. Many people often confuse Skyward with Schoology, so this is just to clarify. Schoology is your students' online classroom. It's where they'll find daily updates from their teachers and class announcements, as well as any digital learning materials and assignments. Schoology is also often used as an instructional tool within the physical classroom. For example, teachers may post a digital resource or activity for students to access in the moment, or even host assessments like tests and quizzes on Schoology, even though students are physically in class. Also, you may see missing work reports from Schoology, but it's important to remember that not everything is graded in Schoology, and sometimes students will turn in physical work in place of a digital Schoology assignment. So Skyward is where you'll go to find the most accurate grades and missing work reports. This is where teachers enter in scores on graded assignments and assessments. Skyward is typically updated weekly. And one final tip, you may see something graded or marked missing in Skyward, but Schoology is where you'll go to find the actual assignment and its details and instructions, and maybe even scored rubrics and feedback. Think of Skyward as your 30,000-foot view of your students' learning and Schoology as the ground-level detailed view. They work together to provide you with different but correlating information. And that's it. Thank you so much for your attention. We can't wait to welcome our new class of 6th graders. Take care and go Gators!